Hi, and welcome back to Beebe Book Buzz. We're back. It's September, and I'm here with Katie Riordan, sorry, Katie, and Ari DeLovo. And if I can get it right, I'm Karen Stern. And we are here to talk to you about the books we've been reading lately and hope that you can find your next great read. We're going to start today with Katie, who has something magical for us, I think.
Yeah, something a little magical. It's called The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. It's an uplifting cottagecore fantasy steeped in romance and found family. It's really, really fun. I really recommend reading some of these like cozy romantic fantasies or just cozy mysteries, because sometimes you just need something that like takes a little bit away.
Takes you away.
Takes you away. This one really takes you away. But the funniest thing about it is it kind of starts with the main character in absolute destruction. Like, it doesn't sound like a cozy mystery when it first starts. Like, you're immediately brought into a city that is burning.
Ooh.
And she is a research librarian at the Great Library.
Oh, good for her.
I know, very fun. I was like a little jealous. I was like, this is great. She's a research librarian. It's her job to make sure to maintain the spell books in this like research section of the library, where the big books that like help maintain the society. But in this particular society, only the elites and royals are allowed to use magic. So she could look, but she could not touch, type of thing.
So she's just
She just
keeping them in order.
Keeps them in order and protects them, you know? So everything is burning. The library is burning. And like any good librarian, what do you think she did?
She saved the books.
She saved the books. She packed up all the books and put them on a boat, and then she took off. She didn't know where she was going to go. And by the way, she took off with her research assistant, who is a sentient spider plant, which is my favorite thing. You heard that right.
That is
sentient
awesome.
Spider plant. Like a little, yes.
Wait, does it talk?
It does talk. It has a British accent in the audiobook, by the way. It's very fun. I really enjoy it, and I want 5. But his name is Cass, and he's extremely smart. And a lot of great lessons are learned from Cass. Like, I really do appreciate him as a character. But yeah, they take all the books and they leave. And they don't know where they're going to go, but then she ends up remembering that she actually never started in the city. She started on this tiny island when she was 4, so she said, I'm going to actually go home to where my parents are from, and I think there's a cottage there. And that's where we get to the cozy.
The cozy part.
Yeah,
right.
They flee the revolution, very French Revolution style, and they go to this tiny little island off the coast, and that's where the cozy comes in, and she realizes that she needs to start creating a life for herself because her old life is gone. The library is burned. Now she has all these books and she has to protect them. She can't tell anybody she has them. She's not supposed to have them, you know?
But she also has to protect them.
Yeah. Exactly. It actually is a pretty intense book.
A little bit of thrill there.
Exactly, a little bit of thrill. But then she starts making jam. It's wonderful. I think it's so fun.
This is not what I expected.
I know.
Love it.
Isn't it great? I really think people would enjoy this book and many books like it.
And she starts making jam.
She does start making jam.
Yeah, but what does the jam have to do with anything?
Because she needs to start making a living, and the only skill she has is research, and that really doesn't help on a small baby island.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and she needs to start.
And the jam is practical.
Jam is practical.
Make and sell the jam.
She makes and sells the jam.
Magic.
Very similar. Another book you could read very much like this, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's really, I actually have that on my list by Alice Hoffman. You should read Practical Magic.
Yes.
But yeah, she literally starts making a new life for herself, and she has to do the scariest thing for a research librarian who works in the stacks: talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And she learns how to build a community for herself, which is really fun. But there's twists and turns. The revolution does not end when the island starts, you know. Things are happening, and she has all these spell books, and the community is lacking organization and spells, and the magic is going awry, and she has the tools to fix it. And she's has to figure that out, whether or not she's gonna show people the truth by helping them, or keep herself hidden. Yeah.
So there's an element of danger here.
Oh, there's many elements of danger.
Even though it's cozy.
It's pretty cozy. It's pretty cozy. No blood on the page, as you said, but it's you're very, very nervous about it, like the whole time, and it keeps your attention.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to T.J. Klune. I would say, like, there's things that you're dealing with. There's like societal norms that are being broken in this book. There's also like things that you're going through and processing mentally in this book, but or the main characters. So it's very interesting. I highly recommend reading it if you want a chill read that is still entertaining and pulls you in, you know. And there's still hurdles.
Right. Is it pretty fast paced or is it
very fast paced?
Okay, so
Very
yeah,
fast-paced
easy
book.
read.
Yes,
Yeah,
and there's
right
flying
in.
cats and magical trees, and it's very
and
fun.
talking plants.
And talking plants. The main
Not
cover
just
has
any
a
plant,
cat
but
with
spider
wings.
plants.
Yeah.
Oh, the cat with wings. I
Yeah,
see it.
very
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you like this book, it's like gentle storytelling. But it's not dull. You know,
Right.
It's very fun. Yeah,
Seems very fun.
yeah. If you like the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which
Okay.
is another cozy.
Yeah. There's so many witch books and spell books
Yes.
out there right now, and romances.
And it's that time of the year.
Romance mixed
It
in with
is a
this?
romance. There is a character who is very good at fixing things. So
Okay.
yeah.
What
Comes
a
in
dream.
handy
Comes
anyway.
in handy. Yeah, so very sweet, very nice. I don't want to spoil that part,
No,
so I'm just
okay.
going to leave
Sure.
that for the imagination.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you like this, I would definitely recommend reading You Can't Spell Tea Without Treason either, where that's pirates and mages who decide they want to open a bookshop. You know, there's books like that, Legends and Lattes.
Legends and Lattes. That's what I was just
Yeah.
I was going. There was that one
Yeah,
that
people
Casey
love
talked
that.
a while back.
People love
Yeah.
that book. Yeah, it's an orc who gives up its orcish ways in fighting to open a coffee shop.
Right.
We love that.
Yep.
Yeah,
We
why
actually
not?
talked that one on this show back a while.
Exactly. So that's my pitch for the spell shop.
All right. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a
Definitely
lot of
a
fun.
great escape. for
Definitely
sure.
a great escape. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Passing it
Cool.
over to something slightly
Yeah.
less magical.
Yeah, definitely less magical, but still a very intriguing story that has elements that will make you think throughout. Because you said that, like,
Speculative.
yeah,
Yeah.
your book, you said there were some things that maybe the reader is going to be
Yeah.
wrestling with or
Definitely.
just, you know.
Rule and order versus moral
Yes.
rule and order in this book, I
So
think.
there is a lot of thought-provoking content in The Poppy Fields by Nikki Ehrlich, which is,
Yes.
I believe, her second novel,
Yep.
follow-up to The Measure.
Mm-hmm.
And this was by far my favorite book that I read this summer, and I would love to tell you guys why. Very character-driven story, which I am always a fan of, but a character-driven story with a very unique and interesting plot. So the Poppy Fields is actually the name of a experimental medical facility in California. And at this medical facility, people who are suffering from any form of grief or loss or heartache can go and they can kind of sleep away their grief. So they get put into this
Wow.
kind of medically induced sleep, and when they wake up, they feel better. Their grief is lessened, but their love and their memories are still there. So it's not like
They don't forget the person.
they don't forget the person.
Ooh.
And in
Sounds
fact,
a little good, too good to be true.
a little too good to be true. And in
Yeah.
fact, that's where things get a little bit, that's where kind of the thought-provoking content comes in, because 1 in 4 people do wake up and kind of, they don't forget the person, but they feel numb and they don't really remember how they felt about the person. They know the person existed, but they can no longer like conjure any.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 1 in 4.
Yeah.
And so the person who created this, and I should say, the book never goes into like the science behind it. You
Right,
never
no.
like learn like
Right.
what is happening to these
Yeah.
people.
Okay.
Like, you know, it's very much like this
is it.
This is it.
You have to accept that.
Yeah.
You have to accept that. However, the woman who created the Poppy Fields, her name is Ellis. We do get a little bit of her backstory, so like we know kind of what inspired her to do it, and we learn a little bit about like the kind of person she is, bit of a perfectionist, really wants to like fix everything, kind of a classic older sister
Right.
type person. But she's coming under a little bit of negative press, if you will, because people that do wake up with this side effect are just starting to feel like, this is not, I don't know if this place should even really exist. This
Right.
is too big of a risk. You're messing with emotions and
Yeah.
people's lives and how
Stories.
they feel about,
Yeah.
you know, some people are going there to mourn or because they've lost a child, a spouse.
Right.
so, you know.
Right.
So that's one part of the story, is Ellis and like coming to her kind of ethical dilemma of like, do I keep this place open because I know it's helping people? Or do I perhaps just shut it all down? on the other hand, there's another story happening, which is one of my favorite kind of stories, which is like the story of unlikely friends.
Right.
And it's these 4 people who were all on their way to the poppy fields, but because of a huge storm, their flight gets completely blown off track. Like they're stuck at an airport and they don't see any way of going forward except driving. And they come together. Like one guy is like, all right.
So it's like a road movie.
It's
too.
a road trip. It
I
is.
love that.
It's a road trip.
Road fiction.
Yes.
It's phenomenal.
And they're all so different. They would never be friends in real life. And it's just about them slowly admitting like why they were going to the poppy fields. Again, all very different reasons. One really wanted to go because she just had a heartbreak. One wants to go because his brother went and something bad happened with his brother and he kind of wants to investigate.
Wow.
And then there's a couple of other surprises that I don't want to reveal, but like just the way they interact with each other and things you find out about them, very cool.
So cool.
Yeah, like even ways in which some of them are connected that they didn't know they were connected.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's the writing like?
So the writing is, that's a great question. It's pretty easy to read.
Right.
A lot of dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of dialogue.
Is it? Would you say it doesn't take a slow build, or is it kind of pretty?
It got me right. Yeah. Okay. No, it got me right away. Yeah, and definitely not a slow build, and definitely like, I would say, not a page turner the way like a mystery or a thriller is.
Yeah.
But it's just a good story.
Like a psychological burn kind of thing? Or is
that... Yeah, and you're excited to kind of find out, like, what's going to happen when they get there.
Right.
You know, like, you're definitely, like, waiting. Like, the end is a great payoff. Like, there are definitely things that happen at the end that you're like, I feel very satisfied. I, like, am very invested in these people.
Right.
I guess that's what I meant by character-driven. Like, you just... Sorry, just touched my microphone. Not sure if that sounded great. You just get so invested in them, and they're all really lovable in their own way.
Yeah.
The one male character is like kind of a grump in the beginning, but then like the women really they break them down.
Right.
Yeah. No real romance, like just friendship.
No, I was more wondering about just do the characters like grow in this? Do you feel like there's?
I do feel like they grow because
more plotty?
They come in. Okay, yes, more plot-based in the sense that, like, there's not one main character who has, like, that journey. But they do grow because I feel like they come in very guarded and they all open up by the end. And I think they, like, find comfort and solace in each other, which maybe I don't think I'm spoiling the plot here, but I think the major theme, right, is like, is it worth it to just like get rid of this awful negative emotion that we feel like, what's the point? Who wants grief?
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, like they were all coming in with some grief and their healing happens on the journey there.
True, yeah.
You know,
No,
so,
I can imagine. Yeah.
like,
Wild,
but
especially
yeah,
with the
but it's
heartbreak, how do you learn if you never feel it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, like what the heck?
true.
I'm
And
so
like
interested.
people apply to go there, so you
okay.
could get rejected. Like they could be like, you're not a candidate for like this kind of
Oh,
Right.
okay, yeah.
you know, treatment. But yeah, I mean, it is basically any kind of loss you could apply.
Right.
And they even talk about, there's some fun things that Nikki Ehrlich does with the writing too. There's a couple chapters that are actually not part of the story. They're like news clippings or like what, and so there's a few that like one chapter features like the one man that they allowed to come in who was not suffering the loss of a person, but like a personal loss, like he was a surgeon and then he got injured and couldn't perform surgery anymore. And they were like, we never thought we would do this. It was always about you lost a person.
Yeah.
So just,
Wow.
Very, very philosophical. And,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not about the fact that they do grow or change, but how they do it. That's I love books like that. That's like a psychological
It's
thriller.
very similar
Yeah.
to The Measure, written also by Nikki Ehrlich, where they aren't really growing on their journey. I think some of them do, but not all of the characters do. It's more of like people are growing their perspectives about the situation as a whole.
Yes.
And I think
that's a
she's
great
really
way.
big.
You're growing your
Yep.
perspective. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yep.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you become better. Some of them don't,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
like,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then the other thing that's so interesting is I feel like the first time I joined you guys on the Book Buzz, I was saying how I had listened to the audiobook of The Wild Girls,
Yep.
which was nonfiction, and I listened to most of the audiobook of this. I did end up reading like the second half of it, but I listened to the first half because I had a very long drive by myself, and I loved it. I'm really loving audiobooks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you.
You know, when they're
very
good,
nice.
they're good.
And I think and for the most part they are good. You know,
Yeah.
I find the odd one out is like when there's a bad one because you don't like the reader or something
Right.
like that. But for the most part, I listen a lot these days.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the narrator of this one is Marin Ireland.
Okay.
Very cool.
And
Yeah.
and then I really liked her voice and her storytelling. And so I kind of, on Libby, I like looked her up to see what
You
else.
can do that, yeah.
Yeah.
And she narrates Emma Straub's This Time Tomorrow,
Okay.
very
which
cool.
I had always wanted to read and I hadn't. And I just finished the audiobook of that and I loved it. And I would
Yeah.
say similarly, kind of like a thought-provoking kind of story.
I love
Okay.
that. Love a good
That one's about
speculative
time
fiction.
travel, but you know.
Okay, well, but a similar
Like,
idea, right? Because this
Yeah.
is something slightly like
There is
Out of
something
this
not
world.
quite sci-fi,
Yeah.
but you know,
Yeah.
speculative.
Yeah. To
if-
wake
if
up
this,
and be different.
right. If this could happen, if this
Yeah.
could be possible,
Yeah.
what would happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely the category of books where I'm like, it could happen, but
Yeah.
it probably won't. But
Yeah,
it could.
yeah,
And
but
like,
it
what
could.
would we do as a society when that does happen? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm watching The Lazarus Project, which I don't know if you've heard of on TV.
Yeah.
It's and it deals with time loops and time travel a bit now, and you know, it's the same kind of stuff. It
Yeah.
leads to some really like both opening your mind, but also giving you like that thrill ride that you're
Yes.
looking forward to.
Yeah.
The adventure side of things.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, moving on again to something, you know.
Find the thread. You'll find the thread, Karen.
The thread here is that this one is definitely mind-opening. It's very much rooted in the real, though. It's anyway. It's called Fundamentally. It's by Nusaiba Yunus, and she writes the story of Nadia, who is a young British woman who's a recent PhD graduate, and she gets recruited to do this job by the UN because she wrote an article that studied rehabilitation methods for ISIS wives. So, you know, women who have been either convinced or lured, or however you want to think about it, pulled in to be the wives of ISIS fighters. And they're trying to help them walk their way out of that, right? Rehabilitate and hopefully go home. So, so Nadia takes this job that's offered to her by the UN in Iraq, mostly because she's running from a whole lot of stuff. Doesn't like stuffy academia very much, but mostly she's just had a major breakup with this woman who she thought was her forever. She has a terrible relationship with her mother, who only recently started speaking to her again after disowning her because Nadia renounced her like Muslim upbringing. So there's a lot to get away from, and Iraq seems to her like a really great place to just get out.
Why not?
And the problem is that she is completely unprepared, both professionally, emotionally, spiritually unprepared for what she's going to face in this job
It's a big
and
change
in
when
this
you're a
place.
little emotionally not.
When you're emotionally
feeling well.
unstable, yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So of course, what does she do? You know, well, I'm going to tell you in a minute, but anyway. The first thing I want to say about this book is that I was desperate to try to be able to sum it up and say, oh, it's this kind of book. You know, it's a speculative fiction. It's a this, it's a that. I was like going through like chick lit, which people used to call things back in the 90s and 2000s, and nobody calls anything anymore because it's, you know, it's about a young independent woman who's doing things for herself. Yeah. But it's none of those things. And I realized that actually what I liked about it was it's hard to categorize, and that makes it kind of special.
Yeah.
Because it's on some level, it's all of the things I'm about to mention. It's a coming of age book that's about a grown woman, you know, so it's a thriller, but there are no spies or car chases or guns. Well, there might be a few guns, but they're not used. And there's a midnight escape over the mountains, but that's about the extent. But still, there's a tension to the whole thing. There's a sense that pulls you through of danger, of, you know, it's a biting satire of the contradictions in the kind of political and religious systems that you would be familiar with. It's a workplace drama that has characters that I swear are worthy of The Office.
Oh, I love that.
Great.
Awesome, ridiculous, hilarious characters.
That's awesome.
It's a relationship story that takes you from heartbreak to rebound, relationship, inadvisable sex, new crush, all kinds of things. So there's that. It's also a relationship in probably more so even in the sense that it's about family ties and coming into relationship with yourself.
I don't know how they fit that all in that
This
book.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She pulls it off.
That's awesome.
That's what's so crazy. It feels really new, like that she's managed to get all of these things in there and pull it off with it's a good story. It's got that thriller element, the love elements, the personal, you know,
And
all that stuff.
It's from Dolly Alderton.
Yeah,
who's
Dolly
also very
Alderton
good at
recommends
that.
it, which can't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing about this that you have to mention is that the author is not making any of this stuff up. She is actually a globally recognized expert in Iraq.
Wow. Yeah.
About
love
Iraq.
that.
She has studied it, and she has actually,
Rooted
I
in
think,
truth.
studied the ISIS wives.
Yeah.
And she's worked in Iraq for like 10 years. Not lived there, but she in and out of Iraq. So she really knows what she's talking about, and then she goes and writes fiction about it. I mean, it's crazy. She's brilliant at getting the vulnerabilities of Nadia, and in this kind of heartbroken, hopeless, overwhelmed spot that she's in. Like, she does those moments professionally. Like, this is really a work novel too. Like, she does this, like those moments professionally when you think, oh my God, I just totally screwed everything up. It's my fault, and it's my ignorance has gotten me into this. She makes you feel that. She's she's good, but it's not heavy-handed either. It somehow manages to be the right level of like page-turning lightness. And I think I didn't say that it's hilariously funny. She actually took a stand-up comedy course.
Oh, cool.
While she was writing the book, because she wanted to like hone her technique,
her like one-liners,
and her timing and stuff.
Knows.
And she's clearly already a funny person,
right?
Because she wouldn't be able to do that otherwise. But you laugh out loud.
That's amazing.
So there's so many good things about this book.
Oh, I
anyway,
definitely want to read that.
She also is really good, again, with a light touch of giving you this kind of crazy, hyper-politicized nuance of like the UN system. She's basically, the satire is about the UN. She's not pulling any punches.
Wow.
She's basically talking about the corruption, not so much corruption even, but just how the ideals have been corrupted. And she also, you get a feel for Iraq, the green zone, and the camp that the women live in, and the heat and the landscape. And so, but I think really the best part are those secondary characters, because that's where all the humor comes in. There's Tom, this hot, sweet, but not too bright guy that she falls into bed with as soon as she gets there. And she has a relationship with. And there's Cherie, who's this like super annoying, like way overly woke do-gooder who is like, turns out to be a good friend and very useful in lots of ways. There's this well-connected Frenchman named Pierre who is, he could be really useful to her if he would stop like scrolling through Grindr all the time. But he actually knows the ropes, and he knows all the nuances and stuff. But he's just
not
like,
putting in the work.
Not really. And then there's Nadia's mom, who she's obviously trying to work out her relationship with, and who is maybe kind of like everyone's religiously devout but loving mom, and kind of. And then most importantly, there is Sarah. And the story centers around Nadia and Sarah, because Sarah is this loudmouth, hilarious 19-year-old London girl. She's got this great East London accent that she does perfectly in the book and in the audio. And at 15, Sarah was lured into ISIS and has been married to 3 different men in 4 years because they've all died. But Nadia feels this deep, almost dangerous connection to Sarah, and she is desperate to save her. And the book is really, the arc of the story is about wanting to save Sarah and the ways that that goes right and wrong and stuff. So overall, this is like, you know, fast-paced. There's a lot of laughter. There's a lot of depth, personal and political reality checks all the way through for both the character and the reader, I think.
Yeah.
And really relatable and informative, and all of this leading to Nadia's growth as a character and a believable and satisfying ending. I didn't want it to end, which is why I knew it was, you know, a good book to be
Speaking of which,
talking
do you
about.
think there are any books you can make comparisons to?
No, I really don't. I mean, for like, I could go by like, for language, you might go for, you know.
Sure.
Because it does feel like a kind of a rom-com if you listen to the language of the book, and it's very dialogue-y, very snappy, very funny, you know, like, so you're getting all that, but you're getting all this other stuff too.
Right.
I really feel like I haven't read, she was shortlisted for the Women's Prize in England for this, which I can see why, because it does really present something new.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I would really recommend it to a lot of people, like, you know, not just women. I think it's just a great story for anybody.
It sounds it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely
going
gonna.
on hold.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I was like,
I can imagine you both liking this one for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah.
fundamentally.
Fundamentally. All right, we are fundamentally finished.
Oh, okay then.
And it all went dark. And we will see you next time on the next issue of Beebe Book Buzz. Thanks for joining us.